Lori Spagna from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She's a best-selling author, a spiritual teacher, an Ascension guide, an intuitive, an energy healer, an animal communicator, and visionary who practices and teaches Ascension, animal communication, intuition, and energy healing, and also provides sacred energy healing transmissions and dormant DNA activations for both humans and animals. So I thought, how fun would that be to have Lori here? So please welcome her all the way from Florida. Lori, thanks so much.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm so excited to be here. And oh my God, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to sit up here because we're videoing and the camera helps. It works. Is it okay if is this okay? Okay. Because the camera works better if I'm up high.
Is the light good?
Everything's great.
Okay.
So thank you so much for having me and for your warm welcome. How is everyone?
Good.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess we have about 90 minutes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to ask you guys first so I can really tailor this to what serves and supports you best. And of course, I'll give you a little background on me so you can know who I am, because I know nobody here really knows me, and I'm new to this area. But I want to find out more about who you are, and I gotta say thank you. First, Dana, right? Dana,
yes,
for having me, and also to Christina, thank you. She's been like so hugely instrumental.
Carolina.
I'm sorry, Carolina. Why don't you call me Christina? I just met her yesterday for the first time, but I love her. I feel like she's my sister. So anyway, thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
So, all right, so let me ask you, before I introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my background, where are all of you guys at? Like, I know this is a meditation group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely figured we would do at least a half an hour or 45 minutes, like half of our time, doing a healing meditation. And I'll explain that a little, but I want to first know you. Well, tell me, first, is there anyone in the room who's already actively engaged as some kind of energy healer?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. Because I don't know you.
Yes.
And then, is there anyone who's actively engaged as an intuitive or psychic? No? Okay. Anyone who's actively engaged in some way as an animal communicator? No? But everybody's an active meditator, and a lot of people are already energy healers. Okay.
Yes.
And who in the room knows the term Ascension?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. All right. Does anyone in the room not know the term Ascension? Is anyone foreign to this kind of stuff? Okay, no one's brand new to it, and everybody knows the word Ascension. Okay, good. That gives me a good sense. So,
well, it might be different meanings to different people.
yes, for sure. All right, so let me start off with a little bit of background. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on me, no more than 10 minutes, 5 to 7 to 10 minutes. So you can understand who I am and what I do. And then we can kind of get into it a bit. So, as you heard, my name is Lori Spagna, and I call myself a light worker. You guys know that term, right?
That's me too.
Yes, we're all light workers in here, for sure. We're all light workers. And I also call myself a starseed. Does anyone know that term? Starseed? Is there anyone who doesn't know that word? Okay, I'll explain. And are you all familiar with that term of 2012, the Mayan calendar? Are you guys familiar with that? Okay, so.
We had a big Birth 2012 event here at Unity. It was a huge, big thing.
Oh, awesome. All right, good.
With October's information.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. So I'll explain Starseed and as it's relevant to this topic of 2012, but just to stick with my intro for a little bit longer. So I call myself a Starseed, and yes, I do energy healing, and I'm trained in a gazillion modalities, but really the bulk of what I got didn't actually come from the modalities that I got trained in. It actually started with when my brother crossed over about almost 15 years ago. My brother passed away of an unexpected drug overdose. And when he passed away, it wasn't very long after his death that I started getting very clear messages from him that he was still alive. And he was a New Yorker. I was born and raised in New York. And it would sound a lot like this. Hey, Law, is your dead brother Jeff? And I'd be like, what? Like, what? Like, and I would keep hearing, it's your dead brother Jeff, here from the dead, with this heavy New York accent. And I'd be like, what is going on? Where is this coming from? So I started like testing the voice, you know, like when you think you're crazy and you try to test it, because if you're not crazy, show me this or do that, because I don't know, I think I'm crazy. But it was thing after thing after thing, and eventually I realized I wasn't crazy. But of course my then husband thought I was pretty crazy. So he pretty much divorced me very quickly. But I kept following and listening to the voice, and basically the message was, you know, if you don't change your ways, you're going to end up like me. So understand, at that time I was living in Los Angeles, and what was going on was I was working the slave mill, you know, the hamster wheel of life. And because I was so miserable, I was dying a slow death. And at that time, up until I started hearing this voice, I was basically stuffing it, you know. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day to make myself unconscious and numb. I was drinking about 8 beers a day to make myself unconscious and numb. The only way I could get through the day was to drink like 2 pots of coffee a day. Then all night was smoking and drinking. And of course I was using lots of other fun things to numb myself, like, you know, that spending addiction. I had like $150,000 of bad credit card debt. Like, credit cards loved me, because as long as I was making my 6-figure salary, I could pay my minimums. But everything kept jacking up. And doctors loved me too, because I was feeding their pockets as well. I kept going to doctors, well-meaning doctors, and basically, you know, like you could take the pharmaceutical drug bottles, and I'm not exaggerating on this one at all. You could line them up like this much, and there were multiples of each. So you could fill up like a cocktail glass full of lots of colors and cocktails, and this was a daily ritual for me. And I remember I got to a point where like my body was so like this, like there were points where I couldn't be in meetings, my cough, you know, that was what I was going through. So this wake-up call from my brother was like really like a big wake-up call. But the way I was getting through life up until that point was that I'd take long vacations and I'd go volunteer places around the world and work with animals. I'd go to Europe and, you know, I went all over the world doing different kinds of volunteer projects to help animals, and Global Peace Corps and Animal Elephant Project and the Orangutan Foundation. I volunteered for them for a few years, and I loved animals. And the thing was, while I was going through all that stuff in corporate America, I had in my head this mantra, which was that I want to be of service to animals on a global scale. I would say it over and over and over again. And every night at the end of that hamster wheel evening, like 12 o'clock midnight, I'm still working at my desk, drinking my coffee, smoking my cigarettes, and I'd be crying at my desk. I didn't come here for this. I came here to be of service to animals on the global scale. So the brother's death catapulted it. That was the wake-up call. It was like, I'm done. Quit the job and became a dog trainer. Went from 6 figures to 30, because I thought that was going to be it. I was going to be a dog trainer, you know? And I got recruited by a guy who had actually worked for the United States government training dogs for 20 years as a military person, training United States service animals for the government. And when he finished his tour, or his assignment for 20 years, or whatever it was, he started his own business, and he recruited 8 people to work for him. And for the first year, we actually weren't really allowed to work with clients, really. We worked with animals in high kill shelters. And we were videotaped and critiqued every single day, working with these animals in high kill shelters in California. And because I had to work with no thinking, because I was being videotaped, tested, retested, I got really quiet, because you know when you do things on automatic pilot, you don't have to think. That's how we've been trained in our society. Don't think, just do. That's the military too, by the way, right? So I got really quiet, just did. But what happened was, in the stillness, and this is like one of my mantras now, in the stillness let the word of God speak. In the stillness let the word of God speak through me. And that happened because the animals would talk to me. I could hear them. And they would say, you don't have to push me, poke me, prod me, shush me, prong me, pull me, hang me, because that's what they do. You have to listen to me, and I will teach you. So I got really quiet, and I would listen. There was nothing else to do. And the animals started to teach me. And that was where it started. That's where I got my initiation, from my brother's death, listening to that voice, which was a silent voice that no one else heard, right? And then from the animals and listening to their voices, they started to teach me. And then what ended up happening, and I'll move through my story now at this point, because the rest is actually the juicy stuff, but it's not where it started. was after that, when the husband divorced, I was like, okay, I'm going to move to Maui because he and I, like, that's over and there's nothing really here for me anymore. I'm going to start my own dog training business in Maui. I moved to Maui, but that's not what I was meant for. Because what happened in Maui was, my other mantra that I didn't mention was that I wanted God to be my boss. I was always wanting God to be my boss. From the time of 14, I was like, you know, journaling and 12-stepping and why do I have alcoholic brothers and what did I come here for? You know, that exploration we all go through. So I wanted God to be my boss. So when I got to Maui, I started meditating myself through the night, every night, sitting in stillness all night long. And I ended up having lucid dreaming, which led to near-death experience because I was able to completely still the body, still the mind, and maintain consciousness, full consciousness. Which if you can do that for a night, you'll see the life of you will be sucked out of you. Because every night, in a sense, we do die, right? But it wasn't an out-of-body experience. It wasn't that. I also, to go through this part really quick, while I was in Maui, had these practice groups where we were practicing very esoteric experiences. I was practicing with a master who had literally died multiple times. One time woke up in the morgue, this is documented, banging on a refrigerator, get me out of here. So I was under his tutelage having these kinds of experiences, and he helped me to die what's called the little death, where he just was able to blow the essence of my consciousness out of my body. So all these weird, mind-boggling experiences, and it all culminated in Maui during those 2 years I literally had what I call a star family reunion. Do you know what this means? Anyone? What I call an induction experience, where I reunited with my star family on a real, was not in my mind, it was not mental, it was physical, spaceship kind of experience where I was teletransported up, reunited with my star family, exchanging of information, rewiring of my consciousness, downloads of information that I had no idea what that meant at the time. I, of course, thought I was going insane. Yes, I got implants that freaked me out. I didn't get it, like, at the time. And I kept asking, like, what is going on, and what was that, and what are these downloads, and what is all these sacred geometrical patterns and weird, and I kept getting, you'll know when the time comes, you'll know when the time comes. And eventually I came into realizing, I'm a starseed, which means I'm seeded here. There are hundreds of thousands or millions even possibly of starseeds on the planet to help humanity navigate through this time, what we call Ascension, which is a limited period of time basically, that really was culminated in 2012. So starseeds are star families who planted here in body to help us navigate through the ship. But we're really all star seeds. We really are all a melding pot of star family races come together to awaken through this awakening process. And the process of awakening is how I define Ascension. But Ascension is just kind of like a temporary period because you awaken and then you somehow resurrect. You're resurrected. You're like, I'm the divine in a body who had an experience of unconsciousness. And now I'm conscious as the divinity in me, and I get to continue to awaken and expand my consciousness and to help others too. As they expand and awaken, we're all expanding. This is the truth of all of humanity, right? So that's my story in a nutshell. And that's what I'm here for. And now I just live that mission, and I love, 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 love. I love expanding consciousness. I'm addicted to expanded consciousness now, to all kinds of tools of the esoteric, of sharing things from the non-physical realm and from star family races as well, who are basically non-physical, even though they have physicality, and they can have physicality. I love sharing that with humanity. I love awakening, and I also love bringing in information and energy in service to animals and the animal kingdom to help share their perspective and their point of view with humanity, to help us to learn from them, because they actually are already really very awakened beings, sharing their consciousness too, and also going through an ascension awakening process. So anyway, does that make sense? That's kind of my story. But if you can ask any questions, right?
Where are your starseed? Are you a Palladian or are you a...
I see myself as a mix from a galactic tribe, so I feel like I'm a hybrid. of multiple star families, primarily Palladian, Syrian ancestry. I feel like that's my predominant role, but I feel like I have a lot of mix from a lot of star family races, and I think most of us do. We tend to resonate first with Palladians because Palladians like love, and we share the Palladian. Our galaxy is, the Palladians are our closest relatives, and Syrians are our next closest relatives. Those are the closest star family systems to us. So I feel like most of us, or a lot of us really do, but I feel like I resonate with Arcturian and Elohim and so many other benevolence that I can tune into and vibe with and access, and yeah. And I mean, we all have reptilian in us, right? We don't really like those guys because they're kind of like, that's that old paradigm, right? That old patriarchy that's been running this planet, that's based in fear, domination, manipulation, coercion, and control, and all that stuff. But in truth, that's an aspect of us too. We just were vibing with them primarily up until 2012, and now we're birthing out of that. Like, we're so much more than that, right? But our job isn't to necessarily reject that aspect. It's to actually embrace that aspect and recognize it served its purpose, but we are so much greater than that. We're so much more than that limited aspect of ourselves, right? But we still get to keep aspects of that have served us. We're not just going to drop our left analytical brain, for example, right? We still use parts of those functions of us, right? So I recognize the reptilian aspect of me too. I just try not to let that dominate, control, or manipulate me in any way, shape, or form anymore, because it's too small. Yeah.
It seems like the ascension or the shift or whatever, it's like, it's at least the solar system, and it's not just us.
Yes.
It's like this whole area of the galaxy or
Yes.
something called band.
Yeah.
And I sense that when I've always been into astronomy, and the planets seem brighter to me, the sun seems brighter and wider to me.
Yes.
Is there something to that?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So one of the big things I do also is the DNA activations. By the way, where's the clipboard?
It's right here.
Okay.
It just needs to go right around here.
Yeah, maybe we could circle it. Let me before I go, because I want to say the DNA activations, the stars, the crystals, the whole thing. One of the things, if you are willing to share with me your name and email address, I would be happy to gift you some amazing content-rich classes that I teach. One is on animal communication and telepathy. Anyone who's an animal lover in here? Anyone? Yeah, animal. Most people do. So I would love to gift you an animal communication and telepathy class, plus how to work energy healing with your animals. A class on that, and also a class on developing your psychic intuitive gifts. And also a class on activating your DNA. I give a lot of rich, juicy content, so as long as you're willing to share your name and email address, and then also to write clearly that we can spell it, because if I can't spell it, we can try. If I can't see it, because it gets too hard. But so to say this, one of the things I offered last Saturday to my community was a free class on the crystals. I'm leading a crystal journey to Arkansas. And in the inner center of the earth,
To where?
it's the weekend after Labor Day, and there's actually flyers there, so you can learn more. So we're going to go to Arkansas and dig for crystals. So this is directly correlated to your question. So understand this: the crystals inside the inner earth, and these are skyscraper tall crystals, are storing up information. That's actually, to me, crystals are, and I got this as a direct download from the Consciousness of Crystals, are time capsules from our star family races. And they store up information about who we really are. They also, in the inner earth, have created a huge and massive grid. Anyone know the term grid worker? Okay, so I do grid work. That's not my primary mission, but it's like a tertiary mission. So when I go on travel adventures, we do grid work, where we work with the crystals in the grid. These crystals are communicating all around the grid of Earth, right? From inner Earth and actually on the surface of Earth, because grid workers plant crystals and use certain patterns of sacred geometry and intelligence, divine wisdom, energy, etc., to create this massive network of crystals. Now, these crystals talk to the star families. They also reverberate through all the galaxy, through our entire universe, throughout universes beyond our universe, throughout our entire multi-dimensional systems. I'll explain the dimensions too. And what they also do is they link in throughout Mother Earth. They're carrying a vibration. What is the vibration of Earth? How do we measure it? Does anyone know? Schumann's resonance.
Yeah.
Yes. And it sounds something like, and if you're really peaceful and you're really tuned into it, you can hear it. You can vibrate with it. You can hear it in the silence, right? So these crystals are reverberating through the galaxy, multidimensional aspects, and waking up what? What in us?
Consciousness.
Yes, but it's in our DNA.
Oh, yeah, the DNA is crystal, right?
Yes. Yes. Now, what if you look at a crystal, which these crystals in Arkansas are Lemurian crystals. They are linked into the time of Atlantis. Who knows the story of Atlantis? That timeline where that society was a whole civilization, it was the civilization of Mother Earth at that time. They got so advanced in their technology, they became using it for harm, to the detriment, and it was called game over. It's just gotten too dark, and they're not caring enough, and they can't seem to flip the switch to positivity. It's just game over. That's called what I call an Armageddon type scenario, right? End of game timeline. Civilization sunk. We have a similar situation on a previous timeline. Ancient Lemuria, that timeline sunk, right? So this timeline will not sink. So what do? The ancestors who survived that from the future came back and planted that information in these crystals, Lemurian crystals, Atlantean crystals, in the center of the earth to help us awaken and remember this timeline will not go down. But people are still carrying those traumas, Armageddon timeline scenario. That's why so many people go into fear. Is the world going to end in 2012? That Armageddon timeline is actually also triggered by reptilians who want to keep us in a state of fear, because that vibration is the only way they can survive at that vibration. Their fear is that they're over. They don't realize they also get to evolve. They get to evolve too, but they're in that state of fear. That's the vibration they are at. We're saying they, but it's aspects of us. We are them. We're the ones who have to leave the fear behind of this Armageddon timeline where we might all extinguish. But the beauty is that when we come into vibrational harmony with these crystals that are awakening us and our own inner process, by awakening our DNA, it awakens within us. We realize, oh, there's nothing to fear. We're all here. Is this making sense? Is everyone with me?
Yes.
Is anyone a little lost by this? Who has questions?
It's doing good.
Okay. All right, good. But please ask. So let's talk about the DNA and the dimensions.
Yeah.
So we know in our reality that we have 2 strands of DNA, right? And science tells us basically, not math, doctors, medical institution tell us basically, for the most part, you're a victim of your DNA, right? You have breast cancer, you got the gene for breast cancer. What did Angelina Jolie do? Slice it off, right? Or you're a victim of your DNA, you have diabetes in your lineage, or you're a victim of your DNA, you could get, I don't need to go on that story, right? We all know that story. And it's in your first 2 strands of DNA. Now we have some really amazing progressive scientists who we can trust because we like science in this reality. By the way, this is what I call, what's this reality that we've been in? 3D. What's 3D? Yes. What'd you say? 3rd dimensional construct, right? What's the 3rd dimensional? I can get distracted, so I don't want to get lost because I got the Bruce Lipton thing. I get it. I get told what to talk about. So in the 3rd dimensional construct, we're functioning from hierarchy, right? And the 3rd dimensions, what are the 3 dimensions?
Height, weight, and depth.
Somebody, I swear, I feel like that's awesome. Yes, that's a dimension, space. Space.
Yeah.
What else is in 3rd dimensions?
What else is in 3 dimensions?
Someone said time.
Space-time.
Time is a function of space, but it's actually not a dimension of its own, even though a lot of people will tell you it's 4th dimension. I don't agree with that at all. That's not what my consciousness has. But you're right, because time is a function of space. There's a distance between you and me, or let's say it this way, There's a different distance between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, which we know is an hour, or a distance between today and tomorrow. That's a function of space. So in that sense, time is right, a function of space. So it's part of 3D. But time in and of itself is really an illusion, right? Because it's a construct that we made with our mental mind, right? So to me, that's 4D in that sense, but 4D is way more than time. What else is 3D? Light. So that color's blue, this color's white, that color's purple. That's a frequency of light. We have light in the room, we can see light, darkness. That's a function of, that's a dimension. Let there be light, right? Okay, what's the other dimension?
Would sound be in here?
Yes. Sound, we can hear.
We were trying to say.
So those are 3 dimensions. And if when you're living in the 3rd dimensional paradigm, you don't believe of anything. I'm saying you, but I mean all of us. If it's not physical, right? In that reality, if you can't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, right? It's not real. It's woo-woo, right? Isn't it woo-woo? So what do those people in 3rd dimensional reality think a thought comes from? Where does it come from? But they don't really think about that. They're not actually really thinking. Actually, they're not really thinking. Where do they think their emotions come from? Where do they think their emotions go to? Where do they think dead people go to? Well, to me, all of that is in the 4th dimensional realm. 4th dimension is non-physical. A thought is a thing. A thought is a thing. It has an energy. But they don't even believe in energy here, right? I'm saying they, but it's us. There's no they. So that's 3rd dimension. It's only physicality, right? Things we can... 4th dimension... Yeah, but is frequency even really here? Do people walk around going, what's your frequency? If you say, hey, what's your frequency in the grocery store? Will someone be like, okay, that woman's a little whack.
A lot of people, or what I've heard, people on the other side are in a different
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right, 100%. But that's a 4th dimensional realm because you can't see it, right? You can't taste it, you can't touch it, it's just a different frequency. But they're there, they're here, it's not anywhere else. It's not outside of us, it's here. It's just we have to, I mean, when you're listening to 99.7 rock, FM rock, you're not sitting there going, where's AM 92? It's here, it's just you turning the dial. It's the same thing, right? So 4th dimensional realm is just everything that's non-physical. To me, thoughts, feelings, emotions, energies, vibrations, colors beyond the color range that we can see. Dead people, dead animals, ghosts, entities, demonics, everything non-physical. So it's sort of, to me, it's kind of like this interstellar highway because nobody really lives there. I mean, even when you're the so-called dead people. What is religion called 4th dimension? Purgatory. Because you don't really stay there. You want to get to 5th dimension. And then there's dimensions beyond that. So what's 5D? 5D is actually where we all are. Some people will say that we're not in 5D yet, and that's true. The collective is not yet in 5D. Because 5D vibrates to a frequency that most people are not vibrating in harmony with yet. They don't know that frequency, but it is a frequency based in love, based in peace. What's the frequency of 3rd dimensional reality?
Fear?
fear.
Yes. It's the predominant energetic frequency vibration. So it vibrates down here, it's very heavy, it's fear-based, and it feels a lot like stress, anxiety, worry, doubt, grief, regret, remorse, shame, blame, victimhood. It's not my fault, it's your fault. Call the doctor, call the lawyer, there's a problem, what are we gonna do? I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills. You know this story. We've all been living there. But we're really, most of us are coming out of there because these 5th dimensional frequencies, they're already here. They're already here. It's a question of can we attune to them? Can we start really vibrating wholly and completely in this space of love? Energetically love, happiness, joy, peace, trust, safety. It's not safety here. Safety here is, okay, I've got my $50, I've got my house, my bills are paid, I got my education, okay, I'm safe. I'm safe. I got my bank account, I got my credit card. No. this is, I'm good. I'm good. All is well. I'm in the frequency of love. I might drop my phone in the ocean. I might have no phone, but you know what? I'm safe. Yeah, you know, I might not even know where the heck I'm going. I'm going to end up in someone's house who I don't know for 2 weeks, but I'm good. Like, I know I'm going to love. I'm welcome. That's this, right? So we're just vibing into that. And in the meantime, we're passing through this 4th dimensional range where we're like, whoa, there's some entities. I don't know, maybe I'm making it up, but I just feel so, I feel so drained. I'm exhausted. Like, that's like an experience of passing through 4D. Or we're like, okay, I know I'm not really sick, but there's a pain in my neck. I don't know what it means. I feel like I need a healer or a clearer to help me work through it. But I know there's nothing wrong, but somehow it's really, okay, go to a healer. Oh, I'm so much better. And a clearing, right? This is like the process of getting, I know the universe is my supply. I'm a little freaked out about my bank account this week, but you know what? I'm going to manifest. I'm going to hold it in my mind. I'm going to see it. This is like passing through 4D, right? Make sense? And when we anchor in 5D and we really are in that space of like love, everything's great. Now what can I create? I'm anchored. Now what am I going to create? Like I created, like I wanted to be invited somewhere where everybody loved me and I was welcome and everybody wanted to learn what I wanted and it didn't really cost me any money, but I could go and just share with love and joy and here I am. That was something I wanted in the spirit. Yeah, thank you. So, you know, that's what happens when you start anchoring in 5D and you start opening and then all of a sudden angels start coming in because they can come through 4D, but they don't live here. Where do angels live? Angels are, who's connected with angels? Who talks to angels? Who sees angels? I know you're saying it like, of course, right? You're saying like, of course, duh, yeah. Who doesn't? Okay, where do angels hang out?
Lights, water.
Here.
No, they come through 4D to help people in 3D to wake up. But they live, at least in my experience, 6th dimension. You anchor in 5D, it's easy to connect with them. They're already passing through. They're trying to help people wake up in 3D. They're like, yeah, that flash you're seeing, really. They're like, 111, really, it really means something. 111, look, 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 there's 111 again, look, 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 look. And you're like, I'm seeing 111, what does that mean? Right? Could it matter? Could it mean something? Like, duh. Yeah, your angels are tapping you on the shoulder, right? But really, they're up in 60. Angels, archangels, ascended masters. Anyone hang out with Jesus?
Oh,
Yeah, he's an ascended, right.
In Korea.
Right. He's an ascended master. He's already achieved his full mastery. So he's in his omnipotence, omnipresence, omniconsciousness. We are achieving it too. We are becoming all ascended masters. And he's one of the beings who's already hanging out, at least at a 6th dimensional frequency of love. He's already accessed that full and complete frequency and vibration, love, joy, peace, harmony, unity consciousness, recognizing we're all one. We're not in separation. That was the illusion of the game of 3D. Yeah? Okay, I can go to the dimensions beyond, but let me come back to the DNA, because I know I said I wouldn't get sidetracked. So in 3D, we're victims of our DNA, and we're stuck with what we got. And basically, we don't really realize, but we don't think about it. Our DNA is the records of our ancestry. So it's basically housing the information of all the beliefs, the points of view, the perspectives, the stories, the storyline, the imprints that our ancestors passed down through generations. So when an ancestor took on a belief system, there's no time for sweetness in life. In fact, I can't handle any sweetness. I'm working. I have to make money. Let's say from the 1900s maybe, or maybe even way back before then. Maybe it was, who knows, caveman days, who knows. I've got to work. There's no time for sweetness. No time to enjoy life. Who has someone in their family that has that? Have you ever dealt with that? Okay. That is the energy of diabetes. Why? I can't process anything sweet. That imprints on the DNA as diabetes. Can you understand? That the person has a belief system. Anyone in the room diabetes, diabetic? Okay. Anyone have that in your ancestry, even though you don't have it? Okay. So somewhere in your lineage they took on that belief, and then the belief system that gets anchored into the physical body is, I can't process sugar or anything sugary. So the DNA starts to store that record. But here's the thing. Up until 2000, we'll make the marker point 2012, but it started before then. We had a belief system as a collective that there was really, for the most part, nothing. Healers knew it before then, but as a collective, there's nothing you could do about it, right? Then, prior to 2012, but that's the big marker point. Who knows Bruce Lipton? Okay, good. So Bruce Lipton, what does he say? Dr. Bruce Lipton and other doctors like him, Dr. Valerie Hunt, other really amazing, real doctors. What does he say?
We're not controlled by our genes.
That's right. He says we're not controlled by our DNA, our genes. And what he's basically saying is you can kind of flip the switch on or flip the switch off, right? Based on what you believe and perceive and the environment that you create within your mind and your emotions and even with the food. Isn't that what he's saying? Mm-hmm. And we believe him because he's a credible doctor and he's a wonderful person. I mean, who doesn't love Bruce Lipton? I love Bruce Lipton. But here's the thing. He still believes you just flip it on or flip it off. I have a problem with that. Actually, not a problem. I disagree. Because you can actually remove it. You can clear the record. Not so much that you clear the knowledge, because the information is always accessible, but you remove it as if it's never there. You can clear the record so it's completely, it is kind of flipping on, but it's completely neutralized. It's almost not there. Why? Because actually that's the business of healers. Maybe not all healers do this, maybe they don't all know how to do it. I do. Because you actually can access it from the bloodlines. Because that's a marker. If it's diabetes, any other physical issues going on in the room? What other?
Pain all over.
Okay,
Like
pain all over them. Arthritis.
Yeah.
Okay, arthritis is I'm holding on too tight and I don't know how to let go. I'm stiff because I'm trying too hard. I'm stuck. I don't know how to flow. Right? But flow, let go, trust. Right? I'm trying to. So that gets stored up as a memory marker. Was it in your ancestry?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's information passed down that you picked up from your bloodlines.
Yeah.
Right.
And it, within the last 3 months or 5 months.
It's accelerated
Yeah.
because it's coming up to be cleared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing is that this is what, first of all, I want to say there's nothing that the divine cannot heal. I am 100% certain. And healing isn't even the right word because it's really, to me, it's really resolve. Because it's simply, here's the game of illusion where we pretend we don't know what we know, and we do things like we go into states of ignorance and denial because we have to pretend we don't know to have this game of that we're not divine creators incarnate. And we play this game in this illusion of separation and unconscious. We have to force ourselves into some state of denial and unconsciousness to play the game of separation so that creator could experience more of itself. Because it was so conscious of everything. It's so conscious that had to go into unconsciousness. And we provide the service in the physical reality to expand consciousness by becoming unconscious of what we don't even know. Through our unconsciousness, we expand consciousness, right? So we go into these states and then we're like trying to figure it out, but without creator, there's no way we can. Over here, we can't heal it. But once we come into consciousness, it's like, I was holding on too tight. I was gripping too tight. As I come into this consciousness and source provides me with the trust and the knowing that I can let go and I can give my problems to this divine source and it will solve everything. I give it to you, show me that you can solve this. Help me to trust you so wholly that I can let go of everything. And suddenly this solution appears. You're like, yeah, it works. Now you're like, I don't have to have this anymore. Because now I got what I was meant to get, that was holding in place. You understand? So now I can clear it out. Or actually for the diabetics, just to go back to that example, we can download, we can align with source like, I can have sweetness in life. It's safe for me to just go to the beach today, relax and enjoy. Like I'm just gonna let go and trust that the divine will know that everything is okay. I can enjoy life. I can take time to savor the sweetness. I can know that I'm okay because actually this reptilian thing, it's just a lie. This is the truth. And then all of a sudden the diabetes is like, oh, you've learned how to process the sweetness of life. Ah, this can be liberated, cleared. It doesn't have to be a marker there so you remember how to enjoy life again. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing that source can't fix. It doesn't matter if the doctor says it's uncurable. I don't believe doctors anymore. I don't actually believe almost anything they say anymore because I have a higher authority that I go to. So it's up to us to reclaim that authority, but it's in all of us. We all have access. So this is why I'm saying the first 2 DNA are just a record of what we came here to resolve. And as we come into alignment with this source, and this source of infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite consciousness, infinite presence, infinite peace, infinite abundance, infinite joy. You've heard everybody say this before. But as it starts to flow through us, and we become the moving conscious vehicle of it, we're like, I don't need that anymore. Let's just get rid of it. It's not serving me anymore. It's not serving this new state of expanded consciousness. And it's served here. It doesn't serve here. So let's just get rid of it. We transmute it, we send it back to Creator. It's completely returned to Source, restored. What is E equals MC squared? The energy of pain and suffering and separation gets squared, transmuted, turned into a new energy. It goes back to Source, converts to love, joy, happiness, consciousness. That's what we're doing here. We're all Einstein's embodies in a way. Make sense? Okay, I got to talk about the other 10 strands.
Well, I was just going brain aneurysms.
Yeah.
It's got to be a tricky one. Why do I have that? I mean, and it's genetic.
Yeah. Okay, so when it's genetic, what we're talking about is family lineage.
Right.
So if you're carrying it, you took on something from the family lineage, you're here now because you're saying, I think I can clear it.
Right.
And your brain is like, I know I can clear it, I know I can clear it, I know I can find it. But meanwhile, there's a clog in the mind. Well, I can clear it, I can fix it, I can clear it. Oh, I'm clogged, I'm blocked, I think I'm blocked. What's the block to clear it? So you're not the first one who's tried to clear it. Someone in your lineage,
Yeah.
and they got tripped up by it, right? So it got
Right.
formed a blockage. But here's the thing. In reality, we know this brain, these are your 2 major chakra centers. You guys all know chakras in here, right? 6th chakra center links up to the pineal gland, pituitary gland, which is like right here, master glands. These need to be opened and cleared.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right. 7th chakra, crown chakra, which is a brainwave frequency that the bulk of humanity is not accessing yet. What is the bulk of humanity using? What brainwave?
Heart center.
Well, no, but I'm glad you mentioned whoever said heart center. We'll come to that too. I got the DNA in the heart center. No, the bulk of humanity right now uses only 2 brainwaves. A beta brainwave, which is, if you're not sleeping right now, active and alert, listening. If you're taking notes, that's a beta brainwave. Driving, paying attention, learning. Left analytical brain uses beta, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you sleep, what brainwave?
Alpha.
Delta.
Delta.
Delta. Now, humanity started to learn how to use an alpha, but they're not using it in any kind of healthy way. An alpha brainwave is, yeah, I'm watching TV. What it's meant to be is, I see the sunset. Peace. I'm meditating on the sunset. I'm meditating on the ocean. I'm in the forest. That's all alpha. Feels good. Restores the body to homeostasis, right? But the way humanity's using it is, and then you're sitting in front of the TV, and the alpha brainwave, all its job, it only has one job. What's the brain? I'm not forgetting your question. What's the job of the alpha brainwave? Does anyone know? One job only. Its job is to say, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes restores the body to homeostasis. That's why meditation helps people heal. Yes, all is well. That's all it does. But what people are doing is they're sitting in front of the TV and they're watching violence and they're watching gun control and they're watching be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Check with your doctor. Go to your lawyer. Do you have mesothelioma? You might have a brain aneurysm. Do you know that 90% of women have abnormal periods and they don't know it? Could I have one? Yes. Do you need a lawyer? Yes. Do Do you need a doctor? Yes. And the new state of humanity thinks it's normal to be sick. Is it normal to be sick?
Yeah.
Is it normal to go to your doctor?
No.
But this reality, it's normal. Do you need some beautiful fairy tales? Have some pills and we'll fix everything. Yes. So this is a state of third dimensional consciousness. That's how they're using alpha brainwave. And they think that they're vibrating calmer, which they are. Because it's the first time, it's the only way they know how to relax, right? But I'm saying they, but it's all of us. We're emerging from it. We've all done it. But in that state, that's the alpha frequency. So at best, that's what's opening the brain, but it's being toxically poisoned if you're sitting in front of a TV. Now, for a brain aneurysm, the key is going to be to restore homeostasis and balance to the pineal gland, pituitary gland, center of the brain, open the third, what do they call that? Third eye. And access the other two brain waves, certainly at least one. What's the other two brain waves I haven't said? Theta and gamma. Most people have no idea how to get to a gamma. That's okay. You have to get to theta, in my opinion, before you can ever get to gamma. You have to be able to hold the theta brainwave frequency, which is an extremely high frequency, and not fall asleep. Most people immediately, when they go to theta, they drop into delta. How am I doing with time?
There's a clock right there. It's almost 8 o'clock.
Oh my God, so I'm supposed to be done by 9?
8:30.
That means we have to go into meditation now.
We have to. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you guys want to stay a little longer? Okay, I usually do get that. I'm willing to, as long as we're allowed to.
I think it's up to the group because some people may have to leave at 8:30. So.
Okay, so what's my, because I want to do a meditation with healing, which takes a half an hour at least.
Oh, excuse me, not everybody's signed.
Oh, where's
Where the sheet gets
that happens all the time.
It's right
Thank you for reminding me.
there.
It's behind this gentleman here, I think. Is that?
No, it's right there.
Everybody should have signed it.
Yeah, you can love it.
Everybody. Who didn't sign it?
Okay, so I'm gonna let Carolina do that. So I'll give a little bit more, and then we can do a break and go into it. So I'll talk a little bit longer since I like to do this. I will never stop.
We like it.
Okay, good. Thank you. So brain aneurysm. We want to open that, which is third eye, which requires a kind of meditation, and then we also need to open crown chakra, which means being able to hold a theta brainwave without falling asleep into delta. Now, what do we talk about when a chakra center is blocked? You've got a blockage in that area energetically, but it's only an energy. And you understand, energetically, it's simply a vibration. What is the root cause of every illness and disease?
Fear.
Fear, but let's go deeper. It's a frequency. It's a vibration that vibrates in harmony with fear. Fear, doubt, anxiety, worry, dense, heavy vibration. What is an X-ray that picks up perhaps a brain aneurysm or something else like it? It's a picture of dark versus light. Shadow, light. The shadow's the problem, the light is the solution. Am I right?
But we need both.
Well, you need both in duality to some degree, but the point is not to get distracted. The point is that if you're picking up a blockage, because an X-ray picks up a blockage, the purpose is to clear the blockage, right? Energetically, from an energy healer. How do you clear the blockage? You vibrate. This vibration here is fear-based, tension, tightness, anxiety. This vibration is love and peace-based. Through the process of meditation, opening the chakra, clearing out the shadow, opening the pineal gland, pituitary gland, that opening of the brain center will restore homeostasis to the brain, balance the left brain and the right brain, and bring resolution. Does this make sense?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Perfect timing to know this too.
Yes, good.
Because they're looking at going in and cutting or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know, that is the solution here.
I know. No,
It's not a pill, I just have to
Oh,
say,
I know,
I'm
right.
making it sound effortless, and it is. But it's not a pill. So it doesn't happen in 30 minutes from one meditation. It's a process, and it is a process that you have to be dedicated. But I can assure you, and I can't make a promise like I know the way that healing works as a healer. And the first step is to choose desire and intend that the healing and the resolution happen in the highest and best way. And ask to allow that to be so. Because so I hope that's helpful.
Yes, it is, very much.
Okay, good. So I'm going to come back to the DNA, yeah? So we know over here we have 2 strands of DNA, but how many strands of DNA do we know we really have? At least. Because over here we know that the most progressive science has discovered that there's at least 12 strands. That's what they can see under a microscope. So they believe that. But I actually know, and I think many of us know, there's way more than 12 strands. It's just that those are not visible with a 3D microscope. So they're what we call etheric. But our job is to awaken these first 12 strands, yeah? And those are things that you can only awaken those 10 strands beyond the first 2 by vibrating, coming into vibrational harmony with these higher, lighter frequencies. Over here, fear-based, you don't even know there's more than 2. You don't even think about it. You wouldn't be in a room like this if you were vibrating only here, right? Those people are, who are those people, basically? Besides the fact that they're versions of us. Because we can't separate ourselves from them. They are us, right? They're us awakening from us. But anyway, who are these kinds of people?
They are family.
Okay, well, I put in here, in this category, I tend to put in skeptics. They tend to be skeptics. They tend to be, what's the word for people? Atheists? Scientists who don't explore any...
Their head. They just...
Yeah, they're
heads.
only in their left brain. They
They're
have
in
not
their
opened up or accessed the right brain. Animals say, and I've said this because I got it from animals, they're the left brainers, the skeptics, who are trying to figure out, the left brain's trying to figure out what the right brain already knows.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only using their left brain. They have not developed any right brain capacity, which can only be developed through some kind of breath work or meditative practice, right brain. It can be developed by listening to music, but it's so little. It can be developed by doing artwork without thinking. It can be developed by letting some kind of fluidity, whether it's music or art, but really developing that right brain awareness requires some form of meditation and conscious breath work, consciousness work, mindfulness, etc., right? Now, so the 12 strands, the other 10 strands get developed as we start awakening through meditative practice, and then we start also opening the heart center, right? And we know that there's actually brain material here. We actually know from the Institute of Heart Math, which is a scientific organization studying heart. By the way, I've been studied by them. I've had devices on me in meditation. And they study how much we can how quickly people can access the heart and the beating of the heart in process with breath work, all this stuff. And they have proven that there's brain matter in the heart. There's also brain matter in the gut. This is another energy center, right, of our body, the energy center. Power center, right? Digestive system, there's brain matter. So as we come into meditative practice, we open these energy centers up, major chakra centers, base, reproductive, belly, heart, throat, brain, top of the brain, right? And we're opening, this is our core pillar. Again, actually we start blowing out those chakras. We're like, free me from these cords, just give me a pure channel. Then we're really in balance, there's no illness in the body anymore. We've cleared it all out. But the thing is, to come back to the DNA, this is happening as we're activating the DNA. Does this make sense to everybody? Everybody with me? Questions?
Did you say what gamma?
I didn't say. Gamma is another frequency. Gamma is basically a brainwave where you can manipulate things outside of you without touching because you're at one with it all. It's a frequency of stillness, pure consciousness. We could refer it to being in I am presence because you are one with all that is. And in that state, did anyone see the movie Men Who Stare at Goats? And then I won't reference that. Spoon benders? Spoon bending tricks?
Yeah.
Well, what are they doing? You're using a brainwave pattern to manipulate the spoon. If they're really real and not tricking, that's a gamma brainwave. You have to use a certain frequency to manipulate something that you're not actually physically touching, right? Healers do it too. Healers are using that and accessing that. I mean, especially remote healing is a form of a gamma if it's done properly and with consciousness effectively. They're very likely using gamma. Make sense?
Okay.
Except science doesn't even think it's very easy to access. They're trying to study it. They think, I once met with this, I guess it's a side note, but I once met with somebody who's like leading big workshops on consciousness, and I sat next to him on a bus ride, and I was like, oh yeah, well, you know, you can access the gamma brainwave. I teach people. He's like, that's too hard to do. You can't do it. And I thought, wow, that's a big wall. I'm not willing to climb it.
I don't go there.
Okay, you want to believe that? Fine. All right, so, but here's the thing with the DNA that's really pivotal. How do you access beyond the first two strands? Who knows? What awakens the first initial triggers that catapult the other DNA strands into domino effects of awakening? What was your word? Kriya? Ah, is that like chanting?
Breath.
Oh, running energy, you call it Kriyas, yeah. I think
Breathing. Yeah.
breath work, okay.
Breath work.
That's not the doorway. I may be asking the question wrong. There is a safety net that, I'm sorry, there's a safety net that no one can get past until it's one gene.
Heart center, golden light, whatever.
It's not heart center,
Desire,
it's
yeah.
actually compassion. It's the compassion gene.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that fascinating? It's like the lock that gets unlocked. So when you vibrate with compassion, then you're able to access through to start opening the other DNA. That's why in this reality, the bulk of humanity who are still functioning from third dimensional consciousness don't yet have more strands of DNA activated. They're starting to now because compassion is actually becoming a more norm, right? Because since 2012, all these light workers, all these starseeds, healers, way showers, grid workers have been doing this work since the 60s. Actually, it started in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Well.
but the deadline really for all of humanity to be awakened was 2012. We were behind the game because of reptilian forces, really, and other, more than just reptilians. I'm blaming it on them, they get all the blame, but it's not just them. Who really wanted to keep us in this fear-based reality, trapped in this matrix. And so they did a lot of very deliberately detrimental things to catch us in fear. So we are farther behind than we were meant to be, yeah? But nonetheless, that compassion gene. Okay, I want to talk about, I'll talk a little teeny bit about the conspiracy stuff. Does anyone want to hear that?
Yeah.
I'd like to spin it.
No? You don't want to hear that?
Well, we've been through it, I'd rather go forward than backwards.
Okay.
I'd like us
Everybody else
to
wants
not
to
talk
hear it.
too much longer and have some time for meditation.
All right, so we can stop right there. I mean, I don't need to share anything else. Do you feel like this is helpful
What
for
I
you?
was thinking was if we did the meditation, that people who want to stay and visit with you after, and then the other people could leave us to be on time.
Okay.
Would that work?
Yeah,
Because probably people have individual questions and things like that.
okay. Let me just make sure if there's anything else Source wants to bring through before we do that.
You all know it's going to heaven.
Do all dogs go to heaven? Yes. All animals. All animals. It's humans who get trapped. We only get trapped because of our own egoic belief systems and shadow aspects that don't know how to find our way to the light. We get distracted, and that's a longer story too, but basically, yes.
I would like to hear more about the animal, what you do with the animals.
Communication.
Well, okay,
First
so
time.
I'm going to do the meditation. I'll just say the animals are our healers. They actually have already their right brain very developed. They're not overusing their left brain, and their heart center's already fully developed, all the animal kingdoms. So actually they're much more balanced. They don't have to label things like, ow, that hurt, or that person was just sarcastic, or my mother-in-law's being a bastard. Like all they do is go, that feels like pain. That feels like stress.
I
That's
see them
anxiety.
as pure feeling, pure
Yes,
feeling.
they're the ultimate empaths. I say that all the time. So what happens is we go into their environment, or we share an environment with them. We go home where they are. We bring our stress, our anxiety, our worry, our regret, our fear. We drop it at the door, and they empathically absorb it. And because they're conscious and they have a divine mission to help humans heal, they take it on, and then they mirror it. They mirror it so that we can see what's going on in our life. And they basically demonstrate it either through behavior, illness, or whatever else. Even if they get lost, it's because of something going on with the human. And the contract, the sacred contract, is for us to somehow learn, grow, and evolve through the demonstration that they provide. And in many cases with the animal companions, this is true for wild animals too, by the way, they just heal their part of the world, wherever they are, or their environment. But the animal companions who live with us, they also are having experiences of separation, but they just have more consciousness around that topic, around their existence. I'm speeding through it, but is that helpful? And there are all divine contracts. Everything's a divine contract. So in a sense, the animal knows, they know of themselves as a divine expression in the body. They might not use that kind of intellectual mind about it, but they know that they're love in a body. They have that awareness. This is my frequency. It feels like love and peace. This is the frequency coming in my space that feels like this. This feels like this. This feels like this. Whatever they feel, they demonstrate that and take that on. But they also know if I take it on and mirror it, this person will benefit in some way through my expression of it, so they can see what's happening because they're not seeing it. And I also always say the animal knows your secrets because they're already functioning from a theta brainwave or an alpha brainwave very easily. I mean, they're always meditating. Just in that, they're not in the left analytical brain. They're not saying, I mean, the extent of their left analytical brain tends to be like, oh, when mommy grabs the keys and I hear that sound, she's going out. I get to go. They make that kind of analytical connection, but they're not sitting there analyzing it. They have all the pieces together. It's all working in more coherence. Make sense? Is that helpful? So if your animal has an illness, typically speaking, they're taking something on to help you heal before you might get it. Or before you would ever have to have it. You may never have it. When I was in, I'm not forgetting, when I was in Maui, and I lived in Maui for the 2 years, I was going through the divorce. I was so angry. I was angry because my parents weren't helping me. They weren't being supportive. They couldn't understand. They had no compassion. My husband was divorcing me. I had no money. I was trying to start a business. They're screaming at me every day, go get a job, go get a job. And I was dying that death. And why would they not support me? I was so angry. And the final kicker was when my dog Kenya died of cancer. When she died, in the afterlife, she started telling me, I'm going to keep working with you. I'm going to help you to help other people and animals. But understand this, your anger is the cancer. You have to forgive. That's when I really started. I mean, I had already had my Reiki at that point. I was already practicing animal communication, of course. That's when my gifts as a healer started to turn on, because I realized if my anger was the root cause of her cancer, it's hard for us to digest that. That's hard. That's a hard awakening. It's not easy to take that, but it's energy. It's how energy works. And it's the service of the divine mission of animals to help us learn. So we come into alignment here. All right, I hope it's okay, because I didn't mean to trigger you. Okay. That's hard to hear.
He got well. My dog.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad. All right, so let's do the meditation, yeah? And then if there's anything after that. So let me give you a little setup for success. So we're at 8:15. We'll do about a half an hour. The meditation I'll do is going to be a healing meditation. So it's not a visualization, and it's actually a very active and awake meditation. It's not an alpha zone, and it's not a leave your body. You will hear me speak, and you will, I may even channel. I do sometimes go into channel. We have a lot of visitors who love us, angels, archangels, ascended masters, and of course star family. We will do healing. So source, consciousness, divine source will very often tell me, this is what I want to give to them. Say these words, get them to agree, because we're working with the law of free will. So nothing can happen if you don't want it. You just say no thank you. Nothing will be done without your permission. So if you want it, you will say either out loud or silently, but I'm out loud, you'll say yes thank you, yes please, or yes thank you, because that's the law of free will. Law of free will is the first. I work with all the universal laws. There's a lot of them. They don't, most of the time, they don't work with people. You have to actually, really, you have to get through the laws. But the first law is always the law of free will. Comes in and says we won't give it unless the free will agrees. So you'll hear me talking, and Source will give us some downloads, and I may ask you, is there anything you want to heal? Source will say, ask them what they want. So you might say, want to heal issues of diabetes or brain aneurysm or whatever. It could be emotional stuff, mental imbalances, emotional depression. It could be anything. It could be fear of lack, anything, okay? So just go with it. But here's the one thing. Before we go into the meditation, we'll access the theta brainwave. Will we do heart center or theta brainwave? Well, I'm not sure. Either theta or heart center frequency. Either way, it'll still be theta. Set your intention now. Your intention is for the maximum benefits that serve your highest and best good, and the highest and best of all beings involved, with harm to none. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
We all want the maximum benefits which serve our highest and best good, the highest and best of all beings concerned, and also only as is uniquely appropriate for you. Because what Source provides for you in this moment is not the same as what Source provides to you in this moment, even though both are getting the same thing. So maybe it's download joy, instill joy, but joy for you is something, joy for you is something. That's up to Source. Source does the work. I listen, I watch, I'm orchestrating, facilitating, but Source does the work. So we're also agreeing. Highest and best, maximum benefit, uniquely appropriate, harm to none. Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to say a prayer. And while I'm saying the prayer, are we still good here?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Do you want any lights?
No, I'm good.
Do you want a microphone? You're good?
I'm good.
Okay.
While I'm saying the prayer, what I want you to start doing, and this is a time where there's no getting up and going, yeah? And no running around, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. While I'm saying the prayer, I want you to start breathing. Get your body as comfortable. You're perfectly welcome to move, you know, whatever you need to do to be comfortable. And start taking breaths in through the nose. And feel these breaths as they come in through the nose. They're going to go straight to the center of the brain. So breathe straight to the center of the brain. And whenever you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. Only when you're comfortable. But this breath goes straight to the back of the brain. Now start to feel and see and sense the breath as you breathe it in. Straight to the back of the brain. And in your mind, if your eyes are closed, you can actually see with your inner mind, in your inner awareness, the brain light up. Clear breath. And then the breath goes from the center of the brain through the throat. Feel, sense, see this breath. However it appears or reveals itself to you. Travels down from the throat into the upper heart, the high heart, thymus. Travel it down into the heart center. Fill the heart with the breath. Travel it down into the belly center and down into the reproductive center, down into the tail. That's your process while I'm saying the prayer. And as you're breathing, anything you exhale comfortably, right? And start to recognize, I know you guys are all awesome meditators because I already feel the energy shifting. Do it slow, deep, long, comfortable. Anything that releases on the exhale is fine. And begin to identify the breath, it's already shifting usually, as love. So actually what you're breathing into your body is the frequency of love. In through the nose, long, deep, slow. Center of the brain, brain lights up and expands with love. Down the throat, throat center, throat chakra opens and expands with love in every direction. Down into the high heart and the heart, the whole chest, upper back, shoulders, arms, expands with love. Love travels into the belly center, mid-belly, all the organs, middle of the back of the back, all expands with love. Rib cage travels down, reproductive center, expands with love. Travels down, buttocks area, expands with love. You're just breathing and then reversing, long, deep, slow breaths. Divine Source, Creator, God of all that is, calling in here and now the highest and clearest, purest Divine Source, the original source of Creator consciousness, the highest, clearest, purest, infinite love, infinite light, infinite wisdom, infinite peace, infinite consciousness, here and now, surrounding and infusing each and every one of us here and now, in this here now moment, and even in the replays, here and now. Bring your divine consciousness here and now. We call your consciousness, the consciousness of Creator, in with us here and now, in, through, and around us here and now, envelop us here and now. Let the highest and greatest aspects of your divinity, your consciousness, your wisdom, your love, your light, your peace, your harmony, your joy, flow in, through, and around us here and now and for all eternity. Wake us up as we embody you. Bring your consciousness here and now. Let what needs to be healed be healed. Let what needs to be cleared be cleared. Let what needs to be resolved be resolved. Let what needs to be witnessed be witnessed. Let what needs to be spoken be spoken. Let what needs to be done be done. Let it be done now, and all in the highest and best and most benevolent ways possible, for the highest and greatest of all beings concerned, and with harm to none. We give thanks now for all we are about to receive. We give thanks and we let it be. We know it is done. Unanimously agreed, it is done, and there it is. It is done, it is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. Breathe deeply now. Let this breath of love, as it travels in through the nose, and back into the brain, and down the breathing apparatus, through the heart, into the belly center, into the reproductive center, and down into the buttocks. Now drop that love, that energetic of love that you've been breathing in through the tailbone and into the earth. That you feel this love dropping down into all the layers of the earth, through the floor of the earth, the floor beneath us, through layers and layers and layers of dirt, rocks and minerals and sand, through the depths of the ocean depths and the ocean floor. This love is dropping in through empty space in the center of Earth and down into the crystalline core, the core center of Mother Earth. This love you are breathing, we are breathing, is wrapping in and through the crystalline center of Mother Earth. See, sense, feel, and imagine it. There's no way to do it wrong. You know exactly how to do it. Your consciousness knows exactly that crystalline energy. You feel it. You vibe into it. Surround your love in and through these crystals, and let the crystals embody that love now. Breathe it back up from the crystalline core, up through the empty space of Earth, up, 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 through the ocean depth, the ocean floor, and all layers of ocean, up, 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 through the sand, through the rocks, through the dirt, through the minerals, and through more dirt and the floor beneath you. That love now breathes up into your tailbone. As you breathe this love up, your whole tailbone buttocks expanding in love, expanding in every direction around you. Breathe love up now, up, 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 into the reproductive center, breathing love, expanding love all around you. Breathe it up, 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 into the belly, expanding love through your whole belly center, all the organs filled with love. You're breathing the love is breathing you, the crystalline consciousness now coming in up through your belly center, your mid-back, all around you. Breathe it up now. Feel that breath of love, all the crystalline love coming up into your heart center, expanding in every direction around your whole upper chest, upper back, arms, hands. Breathe up some more love now. Breathe it up comfortably into the throat. Expand the throat, rise it up now. Breathe that love all the way up into the center of the brain. Feel the love now. Breathe that love right straight into the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. Let that love open that center. Let the love radiate out in and through and around your brain, expanding the consciousness, balancing left brain, right brain. Breathe it up now. As you breathe this love, feel for the top of your brain. Feel up to the top of your brain. You're feeling, sensing the very top of your brain under the scalp. Just there you go. Nice. Feel the top of the brain. Just keep feeling for the very top of your brain, right under the scalp. And you know when you get there, because you suddenly start to feel a little woozy, but also really conscious. And you feel a little tingling at the top of the brain. And even if you're not feeling that, that's okay. Just keep feeling for the top of the brain under the scalp. And when you're there, breathe some more love. And now reach to the ceiling of this room, beyond the ceiling of this room towards the sky. Just reaching beyond the sky towards all the clouds, beyond the clouds, way beyond the clouds, past the galaxy. In fact, you're going past all the stars, the sun, the moon, the planets, way beyond them. Beyond the galaxy, beyond the Milky Way, beyond all consciousness of any physicality, looking, sensing, feeling for some kind of window, door, light, whatever it is, expansion, or just the lightness of being, and go through that, high, 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 beyond all that you can, and keep breathing love. up there. Just keep reaching, breathing love, calling in divine source here now once again. Thank you, thank you. Here we go. First thing, creator of all that is, would like to instill within you and within every cell of your body and being, creator's truth, creator's point of view, creator's perspective, understanding, and definition on the following truths, which will be yours, which will be instilled within you and within every cell of your body and being, with your permission and consent. I know what love is. I know how to love myself. I know what it feels like to be truly, madly, deeply loved by the creator of all that is. I am loved by the creator of all that is. I am in love with myself, with my life, with my body, with my being. I vibrate in harmony with love. The creator of all that is the love in me. I am the love of the creator of all that is. That creator of all that love, that is, that love vibrates in, through, and around every cell of my body and being. I know what it feels like. I know how to access it. I am it. Are you willing to receive these truths now and have them instilled within you and within every cell of your body and being? If so, please agree and consent. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, in a moment, there'll be a silence. Let me get out of the way. Breathe and receive. Now, you're just going to surrender, notice, and allow. You may notice nothing. That's nice. Yes. You just breathe and notice whatever you notice, even if you think it's nothing. Fully integrate. Next, creator of all that is would like to instill within you the following truths with your consent and permission. I am enough. I am good enough. I have always been good enough. I always will be good enough. No matter what I have ever done, thought, thunk, believed, or perceived, I have always been good enough. I always will be good enough. I am good enough. I have creator's truth, point of view, and perspective, understanding and definition on being good enough. And my truth, my point of view, and my perspective, understanding, and definition is one and the same as the creator's, as it relates to being and feeling good enough. I am good enough. I vibrate in harmony with the energies, the frequencies, and the vibrations of good enough. And I not only am good enough, I have more than enough. Please breathe and receive if you're willing to have these truths instilled within you and within every cell of your body and being, so they are the vibration of you. Are you willing to receive this?
Yes,
Yes. We get to go. And when you hear that, it's because something in the room was not vibrating in harmony with that, right? So it just gets cleared out of the way really fast. It's a light language of clearing. Breathe, receive, notice whatever you notice is fine. Yes. Nice. Fully integrating. Just noticing whatever you're noticing. Nice, thank you. Done and complete. Mother Mary stepping forward here, Divine Goddess of Compassion, Kuan Yin Mother Mary. Many of you have already received and become aware of my consciousness and my presence in your life on a daily basis. Many of you in this room are already actively engaged in working with me. All of you are here now meant to know the divine compassion that exists within you. For I am the holder of this compassion. I store this compassion for the whole of humanity. I want you to be aware and to know this divine compassion is already running in and through you, expressing as you. Each and every one of you in this room hold the compassion of the divine beloved Mother Mary and Kuan Yin, the goddesses of compassion. We show up here now, for we are in this room all the time, present with all of you here now. There's no one in this room we're not consciously aware of. There's no one in this room we haven't actively engaged with. There's not one of you among us we haven't vibrated with, participated with, engaged with. We're simply here to let you know. We are consciously witnessing you in your awakening. We're simply here to reinforce that which you already know. Divine compassion is in you, with you, and around you at all times. We recognize you. We honor you. We love you. We recognize you. We honor you. We love you. So be it. Thank you, Divine Goddesses. Awaken the Divine Goddess, Shakti energy coming through. The Divine Feminine is here to awaken. At this here now time, we invite each and every one of you to balance the feminine energies within you with the masculine energies within you. As we do this for you, with your consent, We will simultaneously, and of course Divine Source will orchestrate the entire process. We will balance out the left hemisphere of the body with the right hemisphere, the left organs with the right organs, the left brain with the right brain, and the divine feminine with the divine masculine. Please understand this now moment. The divine masculine is the energy of creation or action in motion. The divine feminine is the existence of all that is. As you unite your action with your conscious presence of being all that is, you will emerge fully balanced in your feminine and masculine embodiment. This will restore balance and harmony to the physical, mental, and emotional states. If you're willing to receive this now, please breathe, receive, and allow. Jesus stepping forward with Magdalene, Mary of Magdalene, also orchestrating and facilitating. Allow it to be so if you're willing, by simply giving consent. Yes, Divine Source Creator stepping forward, of course, making the whole thing happen. Yes. This will take just a few moments. You're breathing, receiving, noticing, and allowing. That's all you need to do. You just notice whatever you notice is fine. Nothing in particular to notice other than yourself breathing, receiving, and allowing. Yes. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Fully integrated. Yes. Nice. How's everyone doing so far? How are you guys feeling? Awesome, beautiful. We're going to do a little more. We're still okay with that. We're still in time. Stepping out of the way. Archangel stepping forward, Metatron, Michael. I've actually got the 4 N's. Metatron, Michael, Merlin, Melchizedek. Michael and Metatron stepping forward first. Archangel Metatron, translating here, would like to provide with you a Metatronic activation. This Metatronic activation, Melchizedek as well, would provide to you an imprint, energetic pattern, we've done this before, a sacred geometrical pattern in your palm of your hand. Nothing that you'll physically be conscious of, except that you'll be aware that it's happening. If you would like this, it will be translated now. This symbolic Metatronic cube and the Melchizedek, Lord Melchizedek impression will provide healing in your hands. Nothing for you to necessarily consciously do. However, at the moment of your consent, your hands will be activated. There will be an impression of heat. It will allow you to provide energetic impressions upon others simply by touching, not even ever consciously. But that love, that impression will ignite awakening in the whole of humanity, those that you touch, like a domino effect. This is part of a universal agreement under the law of one, which is only permissible under the law of one, which is part of the process of humanity's awakening. This was agreed upon, that all beings would be provided this with their consent. So only if you're willing to receive this, you will be part of the liberation of humanity. This liberation will assist others. Nothing for you to do other than to consent. As always, it can never cause harm and only create and inspire more awakening, happiness, joy, love, peace, harmony, and fulfillment for all of humanity. If you're willing to serve, support, and assist in this way, please place your palms up in your lap and simply give consent. And as you breathe and receive, you will feel, very likely, a light pressure in the palm of each hand. Metatron, Melchizedek, doing their work in, through, and around the group. Nothing for you to do, simply give consent if you want. If you don't, palms down, and that will be fine. We'll move on as this continues. Archangel Michael, now stepping forward, asking to assist in awakening the angelic presence of each being. So as the palms are being activated for those giving consent, so shall the etheric wings, which sit behind the shoulder blades in chakra centers little known, rarely acknowledged. However, there are major energy centers behind the shoulder blades. If you're willing to receive this awakening, it's a slight activation, an opening of this energy centers behind the shoulder blades. And what this allows essentially is your etheric wings to be sprouted, just like your birthing wings. There's nothing for you to do other than to breathe and receive and allow the energy centers open. You will be recognized as light beings, angelics in the higher realms. They'll be able to see it in the non-physical realm. You in the physical world will look no different, simply the same. But there will be a lightness of being that you perhaps never consciously experienced before at some point. This will also further assist you in your ascension process as you awaken the light body, as we are all transforming in the evolutionary process of the, that's my interjection, sorry to tell you don't speak. Therefore, if you're willing to receive this now, you simply say yes. Breathe into the shoulder blades, just like breathing love into the heart and allowing, feeling, sensing this love. So it goes through the nose into the heart center and feel the love expanding your own shoulder blades. For indeed, it's an aspect of you yourself who's awakening these energy centers and birthing your own wings. Let me get out of the way here as it's done. Archangel Michael and all the archangels now banded together working through this energy center. You may not consciously be aware of it, that's fine. You may be. Just breathe into the back and the upper shoulders and allow it to be done if you give your consent, that's all. Just breathe, notice whatever you notice. Awesome. Law of infinity coming through. Restoring the original divine blueprint. If you're willing to have the original divine blueprint within you restored, so it shall be. Divine source creator doing the activation. That said, let's define the original divine blueprint within you and within each and every one of your bodies and beings. The original divine blueprint for all of humanity is for the collective, but is unique within each individualized body and being. Your original divine blueprint is the blueprint for the original, often sometimes referred to as the Adam Cadman body, but it's more than that, much more than that. It's actually the awakening of your ideal and optimal and perfect state of health and well-being. It will create a domino effect, so to speak, a trigger, a butterfly effect, butterfly effect in your embodiment that will activate and awaken every cell, proton, neutron, atom, electron, particle, subatomic particle to restore gently, lovingly, divinely perfect timing your ideal and optimal state of health and well-being. It will be slow in your linear time perhaps. Nonetheless, it will be done with this activation. Perfect and ideal and optimal state of health and well-being according to the original divine blueprint. This blueprint does not include a program for aging, nor does it include a program for illness or sickness or disease or suffering of any kind, and it also includes the restoration of your ideal and optimal state of mental capacity, emotional capacity, light body, auric capacity, of course spiritual alignment, and unity with the divine. If you're willing to receive this activation of your original divine blueprint as is appropriate for your unique embodiment, and only as always is for your highest and best, please give your consent now. Breathe, receive.
Yes.
Nice. Just notice whatever you notice. Yes. Okay, got the joy tap. So the joy tap happens a lot of time. That source gives me this joy. It's It's like it's laughter. It's like it's done, Lori. It's done. You're still holding space, but it's done. Move on. Okay, I'm going to pause here. How's everyone doing? Enough? Go on? More?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Okay, we'll go on. I'm going to pause. Okay, invitation for request. So if you have a request, you can just raise your hand. Let's do a clarity of the crown chakra, going here, brain aneurysm, and let's open the third eye for each and every person even more. Now you may have had lots of third eye activations and openings. That's fine. We're all expanding and opening more and more. So there's no, even if you've had it before. We're going to open. We're actually going to do it ourselves, but archangels all stepping forward to assist, and ascended masters, Serapis Bey stepping forward. Love Serapis Bey. I'm not pronouncing it absolutely, but that's always how I pronounce it. Anyway, okay, nonetheless, we have lots of ascended masters also stepping forward. I can name them all, but we don't need to. So we're going to work on this third eye area. And what you're going to do on your end while we're opening and activating the third eye is you're breathing straight in through the nose. And now you're going to see with your inner mind the color of violet. Now, if you can't see it, pretend that you can, or imagine that you can, or just know that you are, even if you think you can't, you do. And breathe this purple violet from the breath of inside your nose, almost like a circle, as if it's going straight to the back of the brain, and up the back of the brain to the top of the crown, like it's a U shape. A circular breathing in through the eye, in through the center of the brain, third eye. Breathe the breath of love, purple violet. Bring it straight back to the center of the brain. Feel it go all the way back. Notice inside your mind the cave of Brahman. This is a cave in the center of the brain, a hollow center where the pineal gland and pituitary gland sit. You're just breathing. Beautiful violet love straight into the center of the brain. And then when you get to the back of the brain, no way to do it wrong, by the way. It's impossible to do it wrong. Breathe this violet love, circle it back of the brain, all the way up to the crown. A circular breathing, violet. It's almost like you stop exhaling. But you do. You're just doing a circular breath. Breathe in through the center of the brain, back of the brain. Reach the cave of Brahman. Open it up. Violet love. Circle it to the top. Just a gentle circular breath. Archangel Michael simultaneously, and all the archangels stepping forward, ascended masters. Each and every brain, you may feel a slight pressure on your third eye between your eyebrows. They're gently, lovingly tapping, opening, awakening with the breath of their love, the consciousness of their consciousness. I'm going to get out of the way for just a moment here. You're breathing the violet love in a circular motion. That's simple. Opening the third eye even more. Brilliant, like sparkles of violet light. Violet love. You may feel a slight pressure. That's okay. You're basically moving through that blockage that's often called calcification. All right, so let's go to the crown chakra. No way to do it wrong. And even if you think you didn't get it, you're going to see you did. You're going to know that you did. Opening the crown chakra now. The breath of the violet love that goes the circular motion at the top of the crown, feel into the top of the crown, top of the brain, underneath the scalp. Just feel this area there. And now instead of violet, it's turning to a beautiful iridescent color. Iridescent purple, white, pearly, beautiful, sparkly, purpley, iridescent. Breathe it to the top of the crown, top of the brain, underneath the crown. And just keep breathing to the top of that brain. Breathing in this beautiful love to the top of the brain. Archangel Michael and all the archangels just gently, lovingly Breathing love to the top of your brain with you, elevating that frequency and opening that crown chakra. That more divine divinity of love can flow in and through you from the higher, lighter realms. Feeling the tingling on the crown and perhaps even some pressure, that's fine too. Allowing that to open. Just like a beautiful waterfall opening to receive beautiful love flowing in and through you now. And this is done. Moving on now. Okay, good. Let's take another request. Arm up, hand up, raise any kind of request you want. Bronchitis? Okay, breathing. Chest capacity. The right to occupy space. I have the right to breathe. I'm worthy and deserving of breathing. Let's have Creator of all that is instill within you and within every cell of your body and being. I'm listening. Creator's truth, Creator's point of view, and Creator's perspective, understanding, and definition of the following truths. I have the right to exist. I'm worthy and deserving of existing. I have the right to breathe. I'm worthy and deserving of breathing. I have a clear channel to breath. I'm worthy and deserving of being worthy and deserving. I exist, I breathe freely, I breathe clearly, I matter. I know what it feels like to matter. I know how to live my daily life mattering. I know how to live my daily life being worthy and deserving of mattering. I know how to live my daily life breathing clearly. Yes, if you're willing to receive these truths within every cell of your body and being, even if you don't have a breathing problem of any kind, you understand as you breathe these truths into you, the whole of humanity benefits. For these truths are instilled within the collective more wholly and completely. We recognize you as the Lightworkers who accept and receive. Allow it to be done if you are so willing. Breathe, receive, and allow. Yes. For the breath of this one, so child, please breathe, receive. Peppermint oil, spearmint oil. Drop on the tongue if you're willing. There are other supplements. These will be channeled into the consciousness of the channel she will provide at the aftermath. Moving on. Any other requests?
Food allergies or sensitivities, dairy and
allergies. The external reality has power over me. The sensitivity of allergies. I have become sensitive, too sensitive to something in the external world. My consciousness believed it was food. I made it up. I made up the story it was food. But in reality, I needed this sensitivity to protect me from something in the external world that I was afraid of. I gave power to this thing in the external world so that I could be sensitive and maintain my sensitivity in this harsh external world. I gave the external world more power. I assigned it to food. Does this make sense to you? Yes. Let's have Creator of all that is locate all of that, everything that is. Everywhere we ever gave our power or consent or authority to the external reality and gave it power over us and made ourselves powerless to it, less than it, whether it be food, wind, season, people, places, things, experiences, or external authorities. Anywhere and everywhere we gave our power to something external to us and made it more powerful than us, Creator will now, with your consent, locate that from within and around you, both conscious and unconscious, both known and unknown, both real and imagined from this lifetime and every other. And as it locates it, it will most lovingly, most benevolently lift it, remove it, dissolve it, and take it all away, transmute it into love and light, and provide healing for you at the history level, at the point of origin, wherever it first began, and through all dimensions, time, space, and reality. If you're willing to receive this healing now, please give your consent. Say yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Spirit Doctor Team, Benevolent Galactic Shamans, of course, stepping forward, banishing all spirits associated with this powerlessness, deactivating the very life force that's scrambling the frequencies, neutralizing the energies, and throwing it up to the light of fire, to be dealt with accordingly, which is the Son of God, the light of the Son of God, to be forever transmuted into love and light. Breathe, receive, and allow. Get to go, get to go, get to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Replacing that which has been removed with Creator's consciousness. The expanded consciousness of your true power. The power that lies within you, not over another person, place, thing, or experience, but rather to be in harmony with all experiences, all things, all people, all places, all situations, all circumstances, that you will forever be in your power, you will maintain your power, and that your power is within you. For you are the power, because you are the power of the divine source. The source running in and through you is the power of you, never to use for harm or detriment, but rather to own your power as a sovereign, liberated being embodied. If you are willing to receive this and even more with and from divine source consciousness, please breathe, receive, and allow your true power to be birthed from within you and around you. Give your consent now if it's okay. Yes. This is an easy one, smooth like butter. Nice. Just breathing and noticing whatever you notice. Even if you think it's nothing, you're getting it. The truth is you're just attuning to a frequency where it's already here. It was always available. We just didn't know this frequency was here. We've shifted to lifestyles of the rich and famous, you know. Good. Let's do just a few more before we wrap. How about here? PTSD. Pause. There's more that's needed here. PTSD. Shock trauma of every kind, drama, from this lifetime and every other will now be located, including all the anxiety associated with it. Many things must first be mentioned. All trauma, all stress, all anxiety. Everything that your humanity is associated with the label PTSD, stress, worry, etc. All the hooks, the cords, the attachments, the entanglements, the ensnarlements having to do with it. All programs, points of view, perspectives, decisions, judgments, calculations, computations, opinions, points of view associated with this. Everywhere you created it, everywhere you co-created it, everywhere you allowed it, everywhere you consented to it. All contracts, oaths, vows, agreements, covenants, promises, commitments having to do with it, creating it, etc. All of it will now be identified. This does not mean you may never feel or experience it again, because in the past you vibrated in harmony with it. However, it will be a process where you de-vibrate from it. This process will be much easier now that we are locating, identifying, and removing all of these aforementioned items from your body and being, from the totality of your consciousness in this lifetime and every other, including in between lifetimes. We're also going to do this in 777 activation, which means 7 generations into your past, into your future, and on the horizontal axis, the here and now. If you're willing to receive this, and under the law of one, give your consent that the whole of humanity shall be benefited from this particular healing activation. If you're willing to receive and allow, make it so. Say yes, thank you.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Breathe, receive, and allow. Let it be said and let it be known now. There's no combining of any energies here. No one shall overlap with anyone else's energies. We're all on our own unique protective container. There's no fear, no worry, or no anxiety, for Source has surrounded and infused each and every one of us. Know this now. You will not pick up anyone else's energy in this space. You will simply clear that which is density from your space and instill the consciousness of Creator within your space. Know that now, as it is said, it is done. How are we doing? Should we do one or two? One more? Is that one more? One last one? Let's go here.
Heart.
Heart. In this session, the center of love. The heart center here. This center of love. This center of love gets so blocked off because we have not been loved. We've not experienced love. We've not known true love. We've not communicated through this love, this frequency of love. As you come into more and more vibration of love, this heart center shall be opened. Mother Mary, Kuan Yin stepping forward, Mary Magdalene as well, divine goddesses, opening the heart center with love and compassion. An assignment is being offered. The assignment is for each and every night, perhaps over the next 7 to 10 days, or more if you like, that you go to sleep with your hands over your heart, and in the final moments of resting, you simply ask that your heart center most lovingly be restored, most gently, most lovingly, to vibrate in harmony with love and compassion in the most loving, compassionate, and highest and best ways, of course, for you, for your body, for your life, and for your living. This is an assignment we would give to each and every person should you choose to accept it. That said, let's go through now and gently and lovingly assist in awakening and opening the heart center. For this particular healing moment, please drop all of your consciousness into this heart. What does this mean? Let all of that expanded breath of love fall now, drop now into your heart. Take a big, deep, comfortable breath of love and drop down into your heart. Deep, deep, deep. If a thought thinks, drop it in the heart. If a mind moves, drop it in the heart. If an emotion stirs, drop it into the heart. Just drop. You know exactly how to do it. You know exactly where it is because that's where you live. You live in the core center of your heart. Just keep dropping into that heart. Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Mary of Magdalene, Mariama, Mariama, Mariama. Stirring and awakening the heart center of love and compassion. Drop in the heart, breathe in and through the heart. Drop everything you have into that heart. Know that that is where the stillness of you in the core of your embodiment exists. Osho, Osho, Osho. Shokure, Shokure. Divine Reiki Masters as well coming forward. Shokure, hearth, hearth. Just breathe now. Keep dropping in that heart center. Breathe. Breathe. Heart may be beating slightly faster, slightly irregularly. That's okay. It's normal. Heart's catching up to a faster frequency of love. Or heart might be beating very slowly. That's okay. Heart is resting to a slower frequency of peace. I'm going to bring it to a close here because we're late, you know, we're going late. Is that okay? Or, I mean, I'm willing to go on here. I think we've got it. Yeah. Let me just step out and ask if there's any last thing. God, thank you. So right before we begin to wrap, understand this. Not one person has left their body. Not one person has floated anywhere or gone anywhere. So as you're in that heart center, you're beginning to awaken your physicality once again. Restore yourself to your regular physical form and consciousness. right before you do, know this, it is done. You are circled in a crystalline ball of perfect crystal, storing up all perfection of you within you. Around this perfect crystal ball is a perfect gold circle encircling you. Not golden light, gold, pure, perfect gold. And around this pure, perfect gold is absolutely pure, perfect platinum, perfectly containing you and your consciousness in the perfection of who you are. And around this pure, perfect platinum is more pure, perfect crystal. Nothing to do, nothing to see, nothing need be done. Just know it. It is done. It is done. And so it is. This container will keep you in your perfect and ideal state and assist you in the restoration process. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, it's always there. It's done now, and it will always stay with you. Allow it to be done. It is done, and so it is. Now, as you're ready, any final breaths of love, allow them. Begin to stretch out your legs, your feet. You never left anywhere. You never went anywhere. You're just simply stretching out and restoring yourself. Stretching the toes and the ankles, the legs, the hips and the buttocks, the waist, the belly center, the arms, the fingers, the neck, the face. And before you really come fully present, wrap those arms entirely around your body to the point that you're hugging yourself so fully, wholly, and completely, and say out loud with me, I love you.
I love you.
I bless you.
I bless you.
I honor you.
I honor you.
I thank you.
I thank you. Thank you.
I know you're hungry.
Beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You guys, I think I can speak for the group and say I don't think we've ever experienced anything like this.
It's definitely out there again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for allowing me to be of service. It's my joy.